Hi guys, welcome to another video on my channel. This video is going to be about the perks of being an AmeriCorps NCCC member and all the great things I've got to witness and come across, and just some tips and pros on how to survive, not just NCCC but anything in life, anything new that you're going to go through. So the first thing we're going to talk about is within AmeriCorps NCCC, you just share everything. The definition of personal space, totally let that go, because it exists here, but it doesn't exist. So with that being said, you're around people 24/7 all the time. There's you may find time to slip away and you may not, but here I've heard a lot of people say there's just no time for me. And you'll find time for yourself, but then again you won't, because it's you're always around people all the time. It's a team program. So you share your bedrooms, you share your teammates, you share feelings, you share where you eat at, you share your meals. And so it's a lot of sharing, and it's not something you can be selfish about, because this is community service. You have to go through these things and witness these things with people. So that's about how much you share, and even with just in general, you just share all the time. I'm okay, here you go. Or compromising. You're always compromising also, because you're not the only one on the team. There's no I in team. So, yeah, okay. So the next part of being a Corps member is you have roommates. I've had really good stories about roommates. I've never had just a bad roommate. Me personally, fingers crossed, thank goodness, all that kind of stuff, because my roommates on campus, we were in, I was in Iowa for 3 weeks, doing CTI training and things like that. And so my roommates there had 4 other roommates, and we just clicked. I loved them, they loved me. I miss them so much. I can't wait to get back on campus and hang out with them. But so I had pretty good roommates there. And so even here, when you go on spike, on your rounds 1 through 4, you sleep in the same room as your team, whether it's all of you together, or whether it's split by gender, or even if it's co-ed, whatever, however that goes. But my roommates here on round 1, I have great roommates here too, so God has blessed me with no problems, nothing so far, at least nothing too bad that I can't okay, whatever. But yeah, so going into being a Corps member is so you have a rep here at the North Central region. You will have a rep role, and those rep roles are VST, which is Vehicle Safety and Tools Officer. You have a media rep, which they will take a lot of pictures. They'll let your community that you're in know that, hey, and you have an AmeriCorps NCCC team here. Put them in your paper. Spread the word about AmeriCorps, basically. Everything's about spreading the word about AmeriCorps, getting people to do it, getting people to getting people to sponsor it. And so you have recruiter, you have POL, and POL is the acronym for Project Outreach Liaison. We use so many acronyms in AmeriCorps, it's not even funny. So we have a SLI, which is Service Learning Initiator. We have a yearbook representative, and POCs, point of contacts of different things, whether it's wellness, whether it's physical training POC, or weekend plans. Your teammates will delegate certain people, okay, you're good at this, why don't you be the POC, why don't you be in charge of making sure everyone does A, B, and C of whatever you need done. And so that was just all within. Sorry, so then we're going to go on to ISPs. And so independent service projects is what ISP stands for. And before you graduate, you have to complete 80 hours. Now, this is because I've only been in the North Central region, so other regions, they may be different, they may not be. But I know here, in the region that I'm in, you have to do 80 hours. And so ISP projects could be anything from like Sunday, we're going to go to the Ogama Humane Society, and we're going to play with cats and dogs all day. Who doesn't love doing that, that's just fun stuff. You could go clean a park. You could go to a sporting event and hand out water to the athletes. You could just do anything from going to sit with elderly people. Anything that counts as community service is considered ISP project, because while you're here getting things done for America, what are you gonna do for yourself? Like because your team leader can like sign you up. Like, okay, this is what we're gonna do today. We're gonna build a bridge. Today we're gonna build a picnic table. We are going to make this trail all by Friday. This is what we're gonna do. But like the way I look at it is like, what are you gonna sign yourself up to do? Like, what are you gonna make yourself give time to do for a community that you don't even know? You know. So it's always fun. Like I think it's really cool just to do certain things like that. So after ISPs, another major thing that you should look forward to or like just consider when you're doing AmeriCorps NCCC is like briefings and debriefings. So when you finish a project, you have a debriefing. So in CTI, we did a CTI like mini spike basically. We went to the Habitat for Humanity Restore in Iowa City, Iowa, and we helped them work there, and like that was like the best day of my life. Just getting their restore in order so that they could help build houses, so that they can build homes for families that can't afford it, that need it the most, and things like that. So like I shed so many tears that day, and just realizing that I'm a part of the greater good. And that's what I'm trying to get people to understand. Like the whole feeling of like being the greater good, like it's just amazing. Like I don't know how you can't serve other people and like just not feel it, you know? But anyway, so we had a debriefing after we did our like mini round, and then we had a briefing because we were getting ready to go to come here to West Branch, Michigan. And within the debriefing, you talk about what you did, what could have been better, how you guys handled the situation, what it was like for you. Or like what you did, where you went, all that kind of stuff. Your sponsor feedback, a lot of things like that. So for your briefing, you find out where you're going, what you're gonna do, the statistics of your town. Like when we did our briefing to come here, we found out the racial statistic. We found out like, who we'll be working with. We found out what to expect and things like that. And so within that briefing, you will basically just get prepared for the next 6 to 8 weeks of your life. Like, what kind of PPE you need to bring. PPE is personal something equipment. I'll get back to you guys on that. But so look, like what kind of equipment you need to bring. Do you need a big coat? Do you just need like a nice jacket? What the weather's going to be like. Of course, you can't predict the weather every day, but we knew that we were going to like go into this whole situation with snow. So like we were like prepared for that, There's really cool things like that. So that's a briefing and debriefing. And also like we do portfolios for each round. And so we do briefing and debriefings for each round also. So even like split rounds, and I'll get in that in a minute. But so portfolios is where you have like basically a like little like notebook kind of thing, and you'll have pictures, you have like feedback from your team of where you went, what you did, things like that. So like one team, they had a poem about how like the town smelled like dead pigs, like just something like that, like to give people a visual aspect of what you done while you were there and how your experience was. So a split round is where like, because each round is typically 6 to 8 weeks, like the whole thing. But so like you may spend 5 weeks in, like I'm just going to give an example, West Branch, Michigan. And then our last 3 weeks, they may be spent on disaster, God forbid. There is a big storm coming through, and I hope there's no disaster. Disaster relief is so much fun. But in order for there to be disaster relief, there has to be a disaster, obviously. And you don't want people to get hurt. You don't want communities to be destroyed. But building communities is what we do. So kind of a win-win, kind of not. But so that's what a split round is, and that's what disaster is, basically. And so that's just basically how being a Corps member works. Number 4, also within being a Corps member, you cook for your team. So within our team, we have like a set week, like who's gonna cook what. And so like within our team, you have a cooking partner, and say if you cook like Tuesday, if you cook Tuesday, then you would clean up the dishes from Monday night and like cook Tuesday, and then like do whatever, just eat dinner the rest of the week. And so if you like cook Wednesday, then you'll clean up Tuesday. So you clean the day before you cook. That's how we do it here. And so with that, we go into like dietary restrictions. So I have a teammate, and I have 2 teammates actually. One is gluten-free, one is vegan. And so, like, within that, we just have to be extra careful. So, like, if you want spaghetti and meatball, like tonight, we had spaghetti and meatballs. Our meatballs were on the side. Our marinara sauce is on the side because I think we just cook a lot of things very separate and you combine it together on your plate however you want it. I had one teammate, they didn't like cheese in their eggs. So, like, our eggs were not cheesy. I'm not used to that. Like, I love American cheese in my eggs. But anyway, it's not about I and team. It's about, the whole team. So I had a compromise and, like, I didn't add any cheese. I think I just ate my eggs, like, just how they were. But anyway, to the dietary restrictions, like, my team is gluten-free. We made French toast, for example, just how deep it is. We made French toast one night for dinner. And so, like, their French toast had to be made first because you can't cook it after you cook things that are, like, that have gluten in them. So we had to make theirs first, and then we had to put it in the oven and, like, keep it warm. And so their food had to go on top because you can't even, like, cross things that have gluten in front of it for the mistake that, like, something may fall, and, like, something with gluten in it may fall and touch the food, and that'll just be, like, totally, like, over. Like, it's not good, it's not good for the person, especially if their dietary restrictions are so bad that it could, like, make them so sick that they might, like, die, or they may have, like, really bad diarrhea, things like that. So you just had to be very careful with that. And so one time I was making, like, these pizza roll-ups where you, like, you made the crescent roll and the queso dip and, like, the pepperonis and stuff. And so my teammate likes pepperoni, so I was just, like, making my stuff. I hadn't washed my hands. I just, like, reached in the pepperonis and, like, went to go hand it to them. And, like, I quickly had, like, no, give me that back, because I hadn't washed my hands because the crescent rolls were not gluten-free. So you're supposed to wash your hands thoroughly. Anyway, when you cook, like, I promise you, I washed my hands before I started cooking. But just, like, realizing how deep in an aspect it goes, like, so to give you, an example of, like, how deep it is, like, with dietary restrictions and being considerate of your teammates. And so with that, like, when we go out to restaurants, my teammate it shows a lot of confidence, how much confidence that my teammate has, because they're very adamant, like, to the waitress, like, my stuff has to be cooked on a clean grill, my stuff has to be this, that, and the third, so A, B, and C, and D has to be done to my food in order for me to consume, so it's just a lot of confidence that they have, things like that. I just think that's really cool. So, like, also that's just really cool. So, like, the whole vegan thing, like, the meat is always separate from our meals, and, like, anything with cheese or, like, butter or, like, eggs, because when you're vegan, you don't eat the byproduct from the animal either. So, like, that's, like, really cool too, just to see, like, how separate everything is from your meal, and, like, placing it all together on your own individual plate. I just think that's really fun, and it helps me learn, because if you're not, like, educated about it, then you, like, won't know what to do. And so, like, with me just not being educated about it, then now I know how to, take precaution, things like that. And so that's, like, with dietary restrictions. On to the next topic, which is, like, we have this saying in AmeriCorps, I've got your six. You've probably heard it before, but, like, I just want everyone to, like, close their eyes and, like, imagine standing on a clock. And so when you're standing on this clock, you're facing 12. So behind you would be the number 6. I've got your back, basically. 6 is basically the backside. And so, it is the backside. So, like, I've got your back. I've got you, like, whatever you need, I'm there for you. So, like, being there for your teammates is the most important thing you can do, because you're only as strong as your weakest link. And if your weakest link is, like, having the worst day ever, that's shit rolls downhill, So, like, you're going to just keep, like, it's not going to be a good day for everyone, because, like, and I'm not blaming one person, but it just affects the whole team, because you're a team. You got to work together. You got to be strong together. So, like, I like that saying, I got your 6, because it's just certain things that happen, and you want to look out for your teammates, and you want to make sure that they're doing great, that they're doing all right. So, yeah, just a lot of things like that. Like, it's the little things that matter, and that'll make your experience a whole lot better, like a whole lot better. And so, the very last thing is, like, possible homesickness. I cry, like, once a week about wanting to go home, but then God will, like, let this magical thing happen, and I'll just be like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't been here in AmeriCorps NCCC, I would have never got to see this. I would have never got to experience anything. So like building a picnic table, building shelves. I learned how to build shelves out of like scrap pieces of wood, and like it's a really good shelf. Like it's just really amazing. It's a great thing, and so I'm just super happy for this program. I can't wait for graduation. Like I can't wait because I know such great things are gonna happen. But just to cross that line and say like, or walk across that stage, and to be like, hey, I did it. You know, it's my first service year, and like I got things done for America. I helped build communities. I helped do a lot of great things, and so it was just a lot of fun to do so. Well, guys, this is like one of my shorter videos, maybe not, but anyway, I just want to give you guys some insight on like what it's like to be a Corps member. If you have any questions, like hit me up first of all. If any, and then also like, share, comment on the video. Let me know if you want to hear anything else about AmeriCorps NCCC. Share my channel. I love you guys so much. Bye.